Good morning, New York Mets Nation, and welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm your host, the Bat Fry, Kenny Fry. Hump day! We got our first comment already. Here we go. There's our boy, Adam Glenn. What is up there, fella? How you doing? Hope all is well. It's getting chilly, Adam. Starting to turn, man. We're creeping towards winter. I don't know how you feel about that. I know how I feel about that. I used to love the winter. I used to love the cold. It sucks ass now. Getting old sucks. All right. So, what do we hear? What do you want to talk about? Let's talk about the Mets. How about that? So that's what the show is. That's what you got the new duds here. Thanks to Paul Leonard. You got the Batcave war room kind of. We got some seats there. And we got Batman, and he's saying season recap notes. We suck. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Anyway, looking back last week, I went ahead and graded position players, and so I said this week I'll do pitching staff and bullpen and stuff like that, and see what you guys think. Maybe I'm way off, maybe I'm close. I don't know. So when I did the position players last week, I think it's Shay Hello podcast was putting out their grades for their position players. And I'll tell you what, I was pretty damn close. So I guess maybe feel a little bit better, because I was like, I don't know, I sound like an idiot doing this. I don't know if I'm even close. I don't watch every game. I watch a good bit of games. I listen to a good bit of games, but seeing how their grades panned out compared to what my grades are. All right. That's cool. I'll take that. A couple more comments from our boy there, Adam Glenn. I don't like the cold. That's right. How about the Phillies? I'll talk a little bit of playoffs coming up here soon. Let me get through the Mets news and the pitching stats, and then we'll talk about the Phillies just, taking it to everybody, just, kicking names and taking ass. And there we go. We got our boy Cowboy Dave Yarnell, the showstopper. Cowboy Dave. What's going on, buddy? My partner in crime there, Cowboy Dave, on the Atomic Drop podcast on Friday nights. You can also check Dave out. I think he's on tonight on the extra innings. I think it's tonight or it's Thursday. I should know that because we have the new show schedule here. Let me go ahead and check that out for you guys so I don't mess it up. The new show schedule. It says right there it's of course Dave's comments right over it. So let me pull it off. There we go. Got a whole goddamn rigmarole just to look at this goddamn schedule. There we go. Yes, extra innings will be tonight at 7 p.m. So make sure you check that out tonight with Dave and Joe Sullivan. Also, Dave does Dem 215 Boys, which is on tonight as well, I believe, 9:30 p.m. With Paul Spencer and Matt Klein talking Dallas Cowboy football. Cowboys' nice win there on Monday night. Against the Los Angeles Chargers of San Diego. So it's beautiful watching them lose. Helps the Raiders out. Thank you, Cowboy Nation. Thank you. All right. A couple more comments here. Cowboy Dave says extra innings at 7 and 215 Boys at 9:30. Yep. And then there she is, the wonderful, the magnificent Eileen. Hello, Eileen. It's hump day. Yeah. Eileen, I know it's cold where you're at, too. It's freaking – I hate the cold. The legs are cold, and I wear shorts all year round. Will you rename the show to 86 and Forever after the Phillies win? I assume you mean after the Phillies win the World Series. I will not, Adam Glenn. I will not. Because I'll rename it 2024 and Forever. Because next year the Mets are going to go to the show and they're going to win it. So Phillies ain't won anything yet. They're just they're winning a couple games here. They'll probably get through the Diamondbacks. I don't have a doubt. But then they'll have the Rangers or Astros to go through, and that's not going to be an easy task. Both teams can hit. Both teams can pitch. So anyway, we're not that far yet. Let me go through some stuff here. It's not going to be a crazy long show like it usually is. But so Mets news, there wasn't a whole lot. I mean, there's rumors, there's what ifs, there's all this other stuff. So I'm not going to go into all that stuff. I was talking last week about managers, like some dark horse type managers, like Ron Washington or Don Mattingly or whatever. I'm not going to go into that again. I'm not going to dive into it. We all know who the leading candidates are: Craig Counsell, Carlos Beltran, and amongst others. And who my thoughts are on the dark horse candidates, like I just mentioned. I'm not going to go into the whole GM thing with Billy Epler stepping down like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, whatever it is now. I talked about that last show as well. I'm not 100% sure if the Mets will even look for a new general manager. I don't know why you would if you have David Stearns as your president of baseball operations and he has absolute power and he's running everything. Why have a GM then? That's unless you're going to use him as an assistant, then just hire an assistant. It's because the GM, in my eyes, in my mind, is a person that's making the moves and the roster and all this other stuff, contracts. But if he's doing it all, you don't need the GM. If that makes any sense, I don't know. So I'm not going to really get into that. Candidates for the GM, not right now anyway. And because I'm not sure if they're even going to hire one. So it's just a waste of my time and breath and internet scouring and such. But so the only Mets notes I do have is Trevor May announced his retirement. And it's not really a big deal. 9 years in the major leagues. He finished this past season up with the Oakland Athletics. Had some saves there with the Athletics. The last 2 seasons before, the 2022 and 2021 season, he pitched with our beloved Metropolitans. And did okay. I mean, so I think the 2021 season ERA around mid-3, and I think 2022 was a bit higher, like 4s or 5s or something like that. So he struggled a bit there. But I never really heard a bad word about him. So anyway, so he goes ahead and he retires from the Athletics, which you can't really blame him. Rough season there. They're moving to Las Vegas, this, that, the other. Nobody goes to the games, and it's a whole bunch of a host of things. So he I guess he's doing a live. He was doing a live Twitch stream or something, or some sort of live stream where he announced it, or it was announced that he was retiring, and he confirmed it, and he went on to kind of lay into the Oakland Athletics owner, whose name I do not remember right now. Basically saying, go spend mommy and daddy's money somewhere else, type stuff. He called him a dork, which I think is funny. That's a funny word. Dork. I feel like dork should be used more because it is a funny word. And so he called him a dork, and he told him to fuck off. And there's a whole host of things. Really, I ripped into him pretty well. Called him greedy and a coward. Doesn't do press conferences, hides behind people and stuff like that. So So, kudos to Trevor May, pretty much saying what everybody's thinking about the lad out there in Oakland. And, that's about it. I thought it was funny, so I wanted to talk about it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have mentioned Trevor May. He was a Met for 2 seasons. It wasn't great. Well, it wasn't, he was okay to bad. We'll just say that. But like I said, for everything I remember watching him, he wasn't a terrible person. He was a decent dude, whatever. And, kudos to him, on his way out, kind of, double middle finger up to the boss and, called him a dork. That's good stuff there. Anytime you get to use the word dork is good stuff, I think, in my opinion, anyway. Adam says, hire Madden. I like him, Joe Madden. And that's one of the guys I did talk about last week, Adam. I do like Joe Madden as well. I feel like he's older, but he's also, very player friendly, I think. And you kind of need somebody like that sometimes. I'm not saying Buck wasn't player friendly. Seems like, the players really liked Buck. And, and from stuff that we've been hearing, that Buck and Billy were kind of butting heads about, moves and who should be playing and stuff like that. So, I mean, it is what it is now. It's a dumpster fire now. So, we'll see what happens. You can't really. So one of the things I was thinking about with the season's playoffs is you kind of look at it. The managers that are in it right now. I can't think of all their names right now. So you have Dusty Baker for Houston. I think Bruce Bochy for Texas. What's the Phillies manager's name? I could picture him. I can't think of his name right now. Rob Thompson for the Phillies, and the Diamondbacks manager who I cannot think of either. I can't think of that. But anyway, what I'm getting at is you don't need a young, hip manager to win games, to make it to the playoffs, to win championships. You look at it, these at least 3 of the 4. I can't think of who the Diamondbacks manager is right now, but you look at the 3 of the 4 managers, and they're all in their 60s and 70s. Been in baseball for decades, and they're winning games. Their team is on every word that they're saying and preaching or whatever. So you don't necessarily need to go young to win or to analytics or whatever. It's proven. These managers in right now are proven that age is just a number. They can do just as good a job as some young dude. What the hell's his name out in San Francisco that got fired? That's used to coach in Philly. I can't think of his name right now. I talked about him last week as well. So it's good to see the old folks, winning some games, and they can tell their great grandchildren about in a year or two. Adam called me a dork, I believe. Suck it, Adam. Dave Yarnell says, Cowboys Nation says, you're welcome, big man. If you smell what the Cowboys fan is cooking. Thanks for letting me talk to you. Yeah. There we go. And Gabe Kapler, yep. Okay, I couldn't remember his name. I could picture the douchebags. I think he's kind of douchey. He seems like a dickhead. And that's the last thing I want is that dickhead manager. I remember him coaching in Philly because, of course, I'm in the Philadelphia market, so I do get a lot of Phillies games. So I did see a lot of Gabe Kapler, and he seemed like a douchebag. So anyway, moving on with it here, talking starting pitching. So so with what I did, I just went through all the Mets starting pitchers. Whether they finish the season with the Mets or not doesn't really matter. I don't care. That's how I did it, and so one of the things that really hurt the Mets throughout the season was the inconsistencies of their starting pitching. It started off injuries. Verlander started on the IL. Jose Quintana started on the IL. Scherzer had an IL stint as well early on, I think in his April or May, or I think it was April into May or something like that. Going into June, we all know what happened in June. But going into June, the Mets were, did have a winning record. I don't remember exactly what it was. I didn't write it down. It was like, it might have been like 35-29 or something like that. But then going through June, they didn't win very many games. I think they were 9-16 in June, and they've, ended up in June. I think they're 10 games under 500, whatever it was. And, one of the big things was, the one stat I was reading on SNY's article about the starting pitching this past season was through June, there was 25 games started in June by the Mets starters. And that's, Verlander, Scherzer, Kodai Senga, Tylor McGill, and David Peterson. And 25 games. Eight times of those 25 games, they failed to complete the fifth inning. Of those 8 times, 6 of those times, they failed to complete the fourth inning. If that wasn't the first half of the season in a nutshell right there, I don't know what was. Time and time again, the starting pitching either barely got out of the fifth inning, or it's like 4 2/3, and we had to bring somebody in from the bullpen. So, it was already a patchwork bullpen to begin with, a bullpen that I wasn't really high on coming into the season. But they're getting hammered with extra innings. They're just being overworked and being exposed. And it just, it was a recipe for disaster. I would have expected our starting pitching not to be our strong point, but to be much better than what it was, especially the first half of the season. Now, eventually, we all know what happened throughout the season. I also forgot to mention Cookie Carrasco in that group. But, we all know what happened with the starting pitching. We trade Scherzer away, trade Verlander away. Kodai Senga, was able to find himself, get in a groove, have a terrific season. Jose Quintana comes back from injury after the All-Star break and pitches really, really well. McGill was still a dumpster fire. Peterson, dumpster fire. The last couple starts did all right. Some young guys got some starts. So it was a roller coaster ride that not many people want to ride on. So it was a roller coaster ride where it's a short line. You get on, and then you get off. You're like, I'm never doing that again. So hopefully that's how the Mets were with the pitching staff this year. It's one of those, we're not going to do that again type of deals. So, spending a lot of money on older pitching. I'm not saying that's why the pitching struggled because it was older pitching, but it struggled. And part of it, could have been the rules, with the pitch clock and all that stuff. It could have been part of it in the beginning, but yeah, it's not really. I don't buy it. I don't buy that. They had a all winter to figure it out. They had spring training to figure it out. There's. I just think it was just like a combination of a bunch of different things. Verlander getting lit up in the home run area. Scherzer not showing up for big games. Stuff like that. Senga with his walks early on. Cowboy Dave says it's Tony. I don't know what the fuck that is. Leviathan? I don't know. Or is it Tori Lovalon? I don't know who that is. Thanks for trying anyway, buddy. Said sorry for the spelling. Yeah, I don't even know who that is. So I can't even, that's Diamondbacks barely sneak in. They're on the fringe of the World Series here, and I don't even know who their manager is. I got my shit together. Another thing I seen from Wardy, New York Mets podcaster. I think he works directly with the Mets, so like this is like official, like insider type stuff. But the Mets are scouting a pitching ace, Yariel Rodriguez. So that's kind of a big deal. That'd be something if we can get Yoshinobu Yamamoto and this Cuban kid. But again, all kind of rumors right now. I'm not going to get into that too much until we get through the winter and stuff. All right, so pitching grades for the 2023 starting pitchers. I'll start off with our best and work our way down the list. So our best pitcher by far this year was Kodai Senga. Like I said, earlier in the season, really struggled with control. Quite a few games he barely got through 5 innings or didn't get through 5 innings. And like the one that always sticks out to me was the game where the Oakland Athletics had like 15 walks against the Mets. But Kodai Senga, the Mets had a huge lead. I don't remember what it was exactly, but it's a double-digit lead. And Kodai Senga still couldn't get it out of the 5th inning. I think it was like 4 2/3 or 4 1/3 innings because he just could not get people out. And it's not like they were hitting him a little bit, but it was walk after walk. And not only were the A's walking us, by the handful, Kodai Senga was walking them. So that was a long ass game. I remember watching that thinking, Jesus Christ, this is terrible. But he struggled. There's a couple different factors to it. New team, new country. Language barriers and stuff. Ball's different. Rest was different. He was used to pitching on certain days rest and stuff, and he wasn't getting that here with the Mets, and a whole host of things really kind of piled into it. But I think it was June or I think it was June. It says late May, early June, somewhere around there. He kind of found himself. Had a couple starts in a row that were really good. Then he had a clunker. Then he has a couple more starts in a row that were really good. No clunker. A couple decent games, some really good starts again, and really found a groove. I feel like he really found his pitch, his stuff. When to use that ghost fork and all that stuff, and his fastball was electric, and really kept the batters off balance. He had several games with double-digit strikeouts, low earned runs. The walks, he kept the walks down. Still walking people 2-3 a game, but was able to spread them out and not have them, really hurt him in an inning. And he really did a hell of a job, so well that, there's a good chance that he's going to receive some Cy Young votes. He should receive some Cy Young votes. And he was, I think top 5 in ERA. And he should also receive a good bit of Rookie of the Year votes. Now it seems like the Rookie of the Year is probably going to go to Corbin Carroll out of Arizona. But, besides that, Kodai Senga, really did a hell of a job. So looking at his stats, 12-7 record, 166 and a third innings pitched, 298 ERA, 202 strikeouts. So he was able to hit that 200 strikeout plateau. Great job. Now, hopefully, looking forward for him, hopefully he can work more. Instead of needing that 7 days rest or whatever it is, pitching once every 7 days, maybe go once every 5th day, or like a normal rotation or something, and occasionally stretch him out a little bit, go 7th day. But we'll see how they handle him moving forward. And so a terrific season for him. I gave Kodai Senga an A. Because you really didn't know what to expect coming into the season. You're like, all right, we got Scherzer, Verlander. Who's going to be our 3? Is it going to be Kodai Senga, or is it going to be Jose Quintana when he's healthy? You weren't really sure what you were going to get from him, and it turns out he was our best pitcher. So he was a solid number 1 for us. Hopefully he can repeat that for next season. So then I have Jose Quintana, and again missed the first over half the season with a rib injury, and then they found a lesion on his I think on his lungs or something like that, and they had to take care of that, and it took a while for him to recover. When he came back, he was very, very good. Most of his starts, I don't know what the exact number is. Most of his starts were quality starts, where it's 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs or less. So a large portion of his starts were like that. He had a couple of clunkers in there, but for him to come in, missing most of the season, and coming back and the season's over for the Mets. There wasn't much to. They're kind of still in the wild card race, but not really in the wild card race. They're trading pieces away and stuff. So there wasn't a whole lot to play for. And but he came out there, he's professional, and did a hell of a job, I thought, for the Mets. If they're able to keep him healthy going into next season, I think he'd be a solid number 3. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. He ended up with a 3-6 record, which it wasn't his fault. There was quite a few times where the Mets offense just didn't produce while he was pitching. 3.57 ERA. That's good, solid number 3 starter stuff. 60 innings or 60 strikeouts, 75 2/3 innings pitched. Like I said, hurt most of the season. That's where you get low innings, and so he should come back next year, I think, pretty fresh. So then we look at Tyler McGill. I gave Jose Quintana a B-. Tyler McGill really struggled control-wise for most of the season. Which with him struggling with his control, leading to a lot of walks, leading to a lot of runners on the base paths. You're struggling, you're in trouble with your control. So then you're just trying to get the ball over. You're not trying to strategically place the ball. You're just trying to get it over to get a goddamn strike. Well, then you get lit up. And I think that's partly what happened to Tyler McGill. And, it led to a lot of big innings, a lot of big hits, many times, not making it out of the 4th inning, 5th inning. And it's just, really put a sizable hamper on our bullpen. And, well, I talked about this, I think, last week or the week before, how I think Tyler McGill or David Peterson would be better suited, I think, in the bullpen for long relief and potential spot starts when it's needed. When you have like a throwaway day, we just need to set our rotation for the next series or whatever. We need somebody to spot start here. Why not spot start one of those guys and see how it goes? So I gave Tyler McGill an F, and I think I was a little hard on him, but I think F. It is what it is. 9-8 record, 4.70 ERA, 105 strikeouts, 126 1/3 innings pitched, and just struggled. David Peterson, again, he also had some control issues. He got lit up quite a few times. It seemed like whenever I'd watch his starts, I didn't watch all of his starts. Like I said earlier, I didn't see every game. I seen quite a few games, listened to a few games. The starts that I would watch of his, it was really a struggle. Like the first inning or two, seemed like he did well, but the second time through the batting order, they just started cranking him and hitting him really, really hard, and he just wouldn't recover from it. Before you knew it, the Mets were down 8-0. So it was a really rough year for him, and that's another guy, like I said, could be a potential maybe a bullpen guy, long relief, or a spot starter. That's where I think they should be. To be 100% honest with you, I wouldn't let their asses anywhere near the starting rotation again, unless they could prove to me that they're ready, that they can pitch consistently, and get their asses into the 5th or 6th inning. And there was talks last year that maybe we should start Peterson, in the 3rd inning or the 4th inning. So, that's how ridiculous that got. But that's almost like a bullpen game. Like the Tampa Bay Rays do. They do well. The Mets, not so much. But Peterson ended up 3-8, a 5.03 ERA, 128 strikeouts, 111 in 111 innings. I also gave him an F. So the McGill and Peterson combination, a big fat F, and I don't think I was too hard on Peterson. I was really, really disappointed in Peterson. Excuse me. Got a couple comments here before I move forward with the rest of the pitching from the season. Dave Yarnell says Torey Lovello is the name of the D-backs manager. All right. Thank you, Dave. I still don't know who the hell he is, from just the past. I have no idea. I've never really heard of his name until recently. And that could be like a West Coast thing. I don't know. I heard of Dusty Baker, obviously. He's managed so many, terrific teams. Either a great manager. He was a really good baseball player as well. Of course, Bruce Bochy, Hall of Fame. We all know Bruce Bochy. And then the lad in Philly here, Rob Thompson. We all know his story with Philly. Interim manager last year, taking him to the World Series, and all the Philly fans crying when he didn't get manager of the year. When Buck got it, they're all, what about Rob Thompson? So we all know Rob Thompson's story. And then, then throughout this season, especially in the beginning when the Phillies were struggling, you heard all those same Philly fans that were bitching and moaning that he didn't get a coach of the year last year. Like, what is he doing? He's an idiot. I can't believe this guy's the manager, blah, blah, blah. So they don't know what the hell they want sometimes. Hey, Nelson, what's up? The Amish Country Mets fan says, good morning. There we go. And he also says, nope, he deserves an F. You still feel bad. If you ever got an F, if it sucks. So you feel bad giving Fs out. I got an F, plenty of Fs throughout my schooling career. Nelson also says half the team does. They do deserve Fs. I agree with that. Yeah, that's messed up. Anyway, moving on. You can check Nelson out on several different podcast shows. Mets Roundtable, Interstate Mets Report, a bunch of stuff that he does on his own. The Amish Country Mets fan on his YouTube channel. So if you're ever looking for Nelson's content, you'll always go Amish Country Mets fan. Plug that in, and he'll come right up. So there's one and only. That's all. There's no other. There's no imitators. Just one. Stacy Northrop. Good morning, Stacy. How you doing? You can check Stacy out on the Big Blue Power Hour on Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Talking New York Giants football. And speaking of the devil, I was just talking about this guy just a few minutes ago about Yariel Rodriguez, being scouted, Cuban ace being scouted by the Mets, and there he is. Just like Yoshinobu Yamamoto plugged in, months ago, to say hello. There's Yariel Rodriguez. Hello, Yariel. How are you? All right. Yeah, anytime, brother. So Yariel Rodriguez, I hope you're not the coffee milk guy, because I really like the coffee milk, because every time I seen it, it made me feel all warm inside, knowing that there's something like that out there potentially. So getting back to this horrific pitching staff, a couple of youngsters, Joey Lucchesi, not enough starts in my opinion to really gauge to what he's going to be. Stuff that I've read on him is that he doesn't have a huge repertoire of pitches, which could be an issue. But you look at it, if you're good at really, really good at two pitches, you're able to locate, change speeds, that's more than enough, in my opinion, to get by. But you have to be able to locate and change speeds and make them different but the same. I'm not sure, but I don't think Greg Maddux had a huge, he's not out there throwing screwballs. It was, if I remember correctly, it was simple stuff. Curveball, fastball, slider, but he's able to locate. It's all about location and changing speeds and stuff like that. I don't know if Joey Lucchesi's there or not. I'm a huge Joey Lucchesi fan. I really like him. I like his stories, but it's basically what it comes down to. Just battling back time and time again from injury, just not giving up and, pushing and pushing. And when he did come up, he pitched well. His first start, I think it was out in San Francisco, pitched really well. That was back in like April, I think, or May. And then I think his next start after that, I remember who was against, was a little bit of a struggle. Then he was sent down to the minors for a large chunk of the season and brought back up after the trade deadline and all the moves were made and stuff. He and Jose Butto, and they were able to get a bunch of starts and some relief appearances and stuff. So he came up and he pitched well. So it's. Well, we'll see what happens with what they plan to do with Lucchesi. And like I said about the 5 spot and the starting rotation, I don't think that McGill or Peterson should sniff that. Why not a Lucchesi or a Budo if they're able to come into spring training next year and prove themselves, which I thought Lucchesi did last season. Which is why I think he got the early starts that he did. Besides the injuries, and. So we'll see what they do next year. And who knows, there's always that, guys coming up through the system, dark horse type guys that, our boy Nelson from the Amish Country Mets fan, he talks a lot about prospects and stuff. So he would know a lot more about that stuff than I would. And, but there's always a couple guys coming up. You just never know who's going to stand out, who's going to step out and, shine through spring training and early part of the minor league season, and they get called up. So Lucchesi, he ended up with a 4-0 record, 2.89 ERA, only 46 and 2/3 innings pitched. Like I said, 32 Ks, not a high strikeout rate. So he allows a lot of contact, but it doesn't seem like he gets in a whole lot of trouble either. So it's going to be contact to people or. Hopefully your defense does a decent job. I gave Joey Lucchesi a C+. Jose Butto, same thing with him. As I said about Joey, not a whole lot of starts for Jose Butto to really gauge. I know Jose Butto and I think Joey, when they went back down to AAA, they got lit up a little bit. If you would look at their ERAs in AAA after they were called up and sent back down, I think both of their ERAs were in the 4s or 5s. When they came back up to the major leagues, they were able to pitch, I thought fairly decent. Jose Butto is 1-4, 3.64 ERA, 42 innings pitched, 38 strikeouts. I also gave him a C+. Again, not a whole lot to really gauge, in my opinion, as to what the kind of season they had. It was a bunch of starts at the end, and nothing really meaningful anyway. So then we go to a couple of the guys that were traded away. Max the Dickhead Scherzer. He pitched well at points. He pitched really, really well at points. But then when you really needed him, either to break up like a losing streak or to win a pivotal game against a really good team, he get his dick slapped. So. And that's why I'm going to be interested to see what he does tonight, pitching for the Texas Rangers. He's getting a start after being out injured since, I think, mid-August. He's getting a start for Game 3 against Houston. I'm going to be interested to see what he does because he doesn't pitch well in the big game. He hasn't all season, and pretty much the second half of last season as well with the Mets. So we'll see what he's able to conjure up. But no matter what, he's still a dickhead. But that was my thought on Scherzer. He pitched well when it was against either a team that wasn't all that great, and when he pitched against teams that were great or good, he pitched like shit. So he had a 9-4 record with the Mets, 4.01 ERA, 107 and 2/3 innings pitched with 121 strikeouts. Also a couple of injuries, and kind of hampered the season with the Mets, and his mouth running after he left also kind of, I think for me, you ruined his time with the Mets. like I said, I've mentioned this so many times. I don't know why I say it again, but I was never really a big Scherzer fan. Whether it was with Detroit or Washington or where else? Well, he was somewhere else, I think, too. But anyway, I always felt like he was kind of a dickhead. Kind of like I don't know. It's like a guy you see in a bar, you expect him to get punched by somebody sooner or later. So then you go to Justin Verlander, who started on the season on the IL. Not where you want to. You're one of your top paid players. Start, paying a guy $50 million just about to start on the IL. When you started there the first, I guess, month and a half or so on the injured list before he came back, and there's some points he had a really slow start to his season with the Mets. Got lit up a couple times, really struggled with the home run ball, gave up a lot of home runs. I felt like, not only I felt like, but stats tell you that. So it's not just an opinion thing. It's a fact. Really struggled with the home runs. He'd be going along well. Then all of a sudden, the guy would get on, a big home run, and be, starting to, swirl down the toilet. 5 innings. There's another guy. He and Max Scherzer, 5 innings, just could not get past 5 innings for whatever reason. Most of our pitching staff couldn't. The first half of the season, and then I felt like Senga really started picking it up and was able to start and push 6th, 7th innings and stuff like that. Jose Quintana was doing a good job getting to the 6th inning. So Max finished the season with the Mets 6-5, 3.15 ERA, 94 and a third innings pitched, 81 strikeouts, and he's pitched decent for the Astros, and we'll see what they do against the Rangers. Down 2-0 already. Then there's Cookie Carrasco. I'm not going to waste my breath on Cookie Carrasco. He got an F, 3-8. Record ERA, not even on the chart. So, I got a couple comments here. Yariel Rodriguez says, "I'm changing my name to Yuki Matsui next week." Are you Yariel? Are you coffee milk? Got to be coffee milk. Nelson says, "The ever mysterious Yariel, coffee milk, Yoshinobu, Zhang Hu Li." I miss Zhang Hu Li as well. Yariel says Yuki Matsui is an elite closer from Japan. I've heard of the name, but for some reason I felt like he was a hitter. I didn't know he was a closer, but I did hear the name. Adam Glenn says he will pitch good tonight. I don't know. I don't know if Mad Max. I'm telling you, he doesn't pitch well in the big games. Coming off an injury, he hasn't pitched since middle of August. I don't know, Adam. And I'll talk about that in a couple minutes here as soon as I get through the bullpen, which is going to be a quick. I'm not going to sit here and go into depths on the bullpen here because it was fucking garbage. Adam says Mad Max, Mad Kenny. Yariel said, should the Mets not sign Ohtani for 10 years, $550 million? That's a lot of money. That's a lot of cheddar. If Ohtani can't commit to enter the Baseball Hall of Fame as a Met, does it matter what uniform Ohtani is wearing in the Hall of Fame? So here's a question, Yariel. Do you think Ohtani's a Hall of Fame player right now? If his career ended after next season, one more season, would he be a Hall of Fame player? I mean, so who's to say after this elbow surgery that he's even going to be able to perform at the levels that he performed at? He might have 6 seasons of shit. He might have 6 seasons where he's hitting 230, 13 home runs, 65 RBI, and his pitching is 6-6 with a 4.67 ERA. You don't know. So I mean, I wouldn't even worry about that. I didn't even know that was a conversation. If it is or isn't, I don't know. But me personally, I don't care who goes into the Hall of Fame wearing what hat. Like, it's people are going to remember you for what you did, where you did the best at. I guess it's he did really, really, really good with the Angels. The Angels didn't do all that well. If he goes to the Mets and he does okay, for you're saying 10 years, $500 million. If he does okay for 10 years, and let's say, the Mets were a winning team, not that I'm not going to say they're winning World Series or whatever, but let's just say they're a winning team. They're in the playoff hunt, in the playoffs year in and year out. And, does that, and he gets nominated to the Hall of Fame. Would he be remembered as a Met? Well, majority of his time would be with the Mets over the Angels. Then at that point, 10 years with the Mets, I don't know, like maybe 6-7 years with the Angels. If that, I don't know how many years he's been with. I think he's been an Angel since 19, I think maybe 18, 19, something like that. So at that point, I think he'd be more recognized as a Met anyway. After that long, if it went the full 10 years. Which you just don't know. But yeah, it doesn't. If I'm the Mets, and first of all, I wouldn't give him 10 years, $550 million. But if I were the Mets, and you're trying to sign somebody like that, and he says I'm not going to go in the Hall of Fame as a Met, I'd be fine with that. Like, whatever, I don't give a shit. Who says you're a Hall of Fame player? If you keep going on the path that you're going, yeah, obviously you're going to be a Hall of Fame player. But you had what, 2 years of greatness, 2-3 years of greatness. I think 2 years of greatness. So I mean, honestly, does that make 2 years greatness make him a Hall of Fame player? It makes him a unique player. What he's done, it makes him one of those players that are like very unforgettable. But I don't know if that necessarily makes him Hall of Fame worthy. And like I said, I don't give a shit. It doesn't. He could go in there with a Cleveland Indians hat, not even the Guardians. Throw the Indians hat on there, and that doesn't matter to me. It shouldn't matter to the Mets either. It's about winning now. It's not about who's going into the Hall of Fame wearing what hat. You're saying Ohtani instant Hall of Fame right now after just 2 great seasons. I got a Band-Aid on my finger. 2 great seasons. That's it. I don't know about that. Adam Glenn says Fat Kenny. Thank you, Adam. I will accept that. Yariel says your thoughts on the new Dubai Professional Baseball League, and league features former major league players like Chris Sabo as manager of the Mumbai Cobras. I have no thoughts on it because I don't know anything about it. I do know who Chris Sabo is. He used to wear the goggles and shit. That's back when, I was a youngster and watching baseball. He played for the Reds. But yeah, I have no idea. I don't know anything about that. So I'll have to check it out. Maybe FanDuel will have some of that stuff on there. I can go ahead and bet. Does Dubai, is that are they the ones with the golf league, the Live Golf League and stuff like that? I know that's been in the news a lot lately because they're not allowing the world those players to be ranked in the world rankings or whatever. So that's been a big deal, I think. I don't know if that's Dubai or not. It's something Middle Eastern. It was Saudi Arabia. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So looking at the bullpen, Brooks Raleigh, I thought had a really good season out of the bullpen. Getting him from Tampa Bay in the offseason, a nice acquisition. I wasn't sure what, So looking at the Mets bullpen, as a whole, coming into the season, the guys that we were signing, you're just kind of like, I don't know, you just didn't know what to expect because every single guy, barring maybe 1 or 2, but every single guy they brought in had high ERAs or were, career high ERAs, for the teams that they were pitching for the season before. You're like, well, what the hell are we getting ourselves into here? And every breakdown, every time the Mets would make a trade or pick a guy up in free agency, from the bullpen and reading up on him and stuff, there was never anything like any sort of optimism. It's like, oh, could potentially be an okay early bullpen guy, potential. It's like, oh man, this, there was no, this guy is solid. There was no, this guy will shut people down. There was none of that. It was just, well, maybe. And it didn't pan out very well, our bullpen. But like I said, Brooks Raleigh was the most consistent bullpen arm we had this season. Was able to save some games for us. So he was a nice pickup, and I look forward to seeing what he can do next season. David Robertson, he was the next one. He ended up getting traded away to Miami, but he had a good year, and I think say what you will about Buck, I felt like he did a good job with Robertson. There was quite a few times early in the season where why isn't Robertson pitching or whatever? He's one of those pitchers. He is up there in age. You don't want to overuse him. If you have plans of making a run at the playoffs at the end of the season, that's where you want to use Robertson at. So he really, was limiting his appearances, his innings as much as he, could for the first half of the season before he got traded away. And then he went to Miami and he really struggled. And I was listening to the Phillies Marlins series on the radio, and the Marlins announcers were, I think it was the Marlins. Marlins announcers were talking about Robertson's struggles, and they said that they feel like one of the reason he's been struggling is because he was brought in so much with the Marlins. They used him a lot, and it was getting him lit up. He was tired. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. It's hard to believe that he goes from pitching. He ended up with he had a 2.05 ERA with the Mets to a 5.06 ERA with Miami. It's just hard to believe that the change like that, would lead to such a drastic drop in performance. So it had to be something, overuse or something. I don't know. But with the Mets, I gave him a B. Raleigh a B plus. Raleigh was 1-2 with 2.80 ERA. Adam Ottavino, who had a terrific season the year before. He and Seth Lugo, I was, praying every night to the baseball gods, please, for the love of God, bring Seth Lugo and Ottavino back. Well, Lugo goes to San Diego because he wants to be a starter, and Ottavino comes back, and it's really such a roller coaster season for him, up and down, like a roller coaster would do. And he'd have a stretch, where he's like, all right, it looks like the old Ottavino. Then he'll have, a couple clunkers, just, getting blasted with home runs and stuff. So it was a tough season for him. I don't know if he'll be back again next season, if he's going to retire or whatever. He is, like 37, 38 years old. So he is getting up there in age. Hopefully he goes for one more go around with the Mets. He finished 1-7 with a 3.21 ERA in 66 games, 66 appearances. So he was used a good bit. Now we get to a nice stretch of Fs here. I gave Ottavino a C. Drew Smith, just constantly, it felt like every single time he was out there, he was getting lit up. I know that's not a fact, but that's how it felt. It felt like every time he was out there, he was getting lit up. I ended up with a 4.15 ERA. I gave Drew Smith an F. Steven Nagosic, F. 5.61 ERA. That's another guy. He didn't pitch a whole lot with the Mets, but he 13 games. But he had a whip of 1.636 whip. That's awful. That was rough. Trevor Gott, who we picked up from Seattle, I believe. I gave him an F as well. 4.34 ERA, 31 games pitched with the Mets. Terrible. Trevor got to get gone is what he needs to be. Jeff Brigham, F. Again, 5.26 ERA in 37 games. The bullpen was so bad. And you could look at Diaz going down as being as a catalyst, for that. But even if he was there, those guys weren't going to pitch good. It's like so if he's there, all right, you're probably not going to see some of these guys as often or at all. But it's just it still would have been a shit show. I feel like I feel like losing Lugo really really hurt us. Not only losing Edwin Diaz for the season, but losing Lugo, he and Ottavino were so solid last season. I felt like that losing him, really really hurt the middle of that bullpen, middle to back end of the bullpen, and like looking at it now, if you have Diaz, you have Diaz, saves, Robertson setting up, Raleigh, before Robertson or even setting up besides Robertson, then Ottavino as well. It wouldn't have been as bad, but you still would have had a Drew Smith in there, Steven Nagosic, Trevor Gott. So one of those guys still would have been in there to fuck shit up. That's how I feel about that. Grant Hartwig, another guy, I gave a D. Because he's a young pitcher, and I feel like Hartwig's the dude with the odd windup. I think that's the dude that's like a side armor a little bit. I do kind of like him, but he's pretty young. So then the one thing I talked about this last week with the bullpens, it's hard to say that these guys stink or they suck or whatever, because it's the bullpen pitcher. Next season one of these guys like Trevor Gott might go 3-1 with a 3.1 ERA. He might do really good. You just never know. Sometimes those guys turn it around for a couple seasons and then they get traded or picked up by somebody else and they're back to being a shit show. So it's hard. It's really hard to tell with the bullpen. Yeah, it really is. So overall, I gave the starting pitching a C, the bullpen an F. And just to reiterate, I think the starting pitching, and go back and check past shows. I begged and pleaded for them to bring back Seth Lugo and I can't remember his fucking name. And the starting pitcher we lost to Toronto. I can't think of his name right now. Oh, that's driving me nuts. It doesn't matter. But he pitched well for Toronto, is what I'm getting at. Let me see if I can Chris Bassett. There we go. Chris freaking Bassett. Pissing me off. But losing Chris Bassett, I again, if you watch past shows, the last offseason, I'm on here week after week saying, so I'd really like the Mets to re-sign Chris Bassett, bring Bassett back, because I felt like he had a really consistent season. Didn't pitch well in the playoffs, but nobody did. And, they let Bassett go. And I'm like, bring back, Ottavino and Lugo. You got to bring them back. Brought back Ottavino, still let Lugo go, which I understand. The whole Lugo, he wanted to be a starter anyway, so I get it. And, there is talks of Lugo possibly opting out of his contract in San Diego over the winter. I'm not saying he's going to be a Met again, because if he is, he's going to want to start, and that you could look at the 5 spot for him, because I feel like he did pitch really well for San Diego. I don't have his stats in front of me. The last time I did see his stats, they were, pretty good. So we'll see what happens there. And San Diego might be losing Blake Snell as well. All right, let me go ahead and go through a couple comments here. Here we go. Yariel Rodriguez says Ohtani got 2 great seasons as a pitcher and 5 great years as a hitter. That is 7 years. I don't know if he had 5 great years as a hitter. I don't know. Looking back on his stats, Shohei Ohtani, I feel like the last 2 seasons where he's really blossomed into a really good hitter. I could be wrong on that. I don't know. Because I thought I was looking at that recently, and I was kind of surprised that his career is actually longer than I thought it was, because you haven't really started hearing about Shohei Ohtani until recently. Let me check that out on Baseball Reference here, my go-to for all my stat stuff, because I don't know where else to go. But we'll see. So his age 23 season with the Angels, 104 games, 22 home runs. But that's pretty good. Batting average 285. His second season, 2019, 18 home runs. 2020, the COVID years, 7 home runs, which you just wipe that off. So before COVID, he had in 106 games, he had 18 home runs, and 104 games, 22 home runs. Then after COVID, 2021, he became a full-time starter. So you're looking at 46 home runs, 34 home runs, and then 44 this past season. So you look at it, three elite seasons as a power hitter. And average-wise, 257, 273, and 304. Again, better average-wise. So three great seasons as a power hitter. His first 2 seasons as a rookie and as his second season, all right, 22 home runs, 18 home runs. Not terrible, but not what we're used to seeing now. I don't know if I can see his pitching stats or not. I guess I don't know how I even look that up. Usually it's just there we go. No, that's patch. That ain't gonna work. Anyway, I'm not gonna get into it. I'm not gonna look anymore. Wasting time here. So again, if his career ended today, he's not a Hall of Famer. Absolutely not. He might have a section in the Hall of Fame. Because he's such a unicorn, as people say. It's just something magical, something you don't see at all, something mythical. Paul Spencer saying, "What's up? How you doing, Paul? I love the new duds here. Fantastic. I'm not sure what Batman's talking about up there. The season recap notes, we suck. But, he does tell the truth. Batman is a truth and justice kind of guy. So we do suck. The Mets did suck this season, so. Yariel Rodriguez says losing Bassett and Taijuan Walker hurts too. They were inning eaters last year. Yeah, Taijuan Walker, he was an innings eater, but his last 2 seasons with the Mets, 2021 and 2022, first half of the seasons, the first halves, you grade him out as a B. Second half, you look at it as a D. He's still getting those innings, but he's also losing a lot of games. He's getting lit up. ERA, rose second half of the season both times. He had an okay season with the Phillies. A lot of wins. I think he had 15 wins maybe, but an ERA in the high 4s, mid to high 4s. So, if anything, losing him, he would have solidified the number 5 spot. We wouldn't have Tyler McGill or Peterson there lingering around, pissing us off every time they get on the bump. Trevor Williams was Trevor Williams was another big one to lose. And that's another guy that was a bullpen guy that wanted to be a starter. He goes to Washington, becomes a starter, and he didn't have a bad season. He had a decent season there, so good for him. But bad for the Mets. He was another guy I felt like as well showed up big at times. Last season during the 101 win season. The new bat room, the designer chairs. That's why I said it's almost like kind of like a war room kind of, Batman's getting the Mets brass together kind of. We're going to try to figure this out. Ohtani OPS in his down years or elite. I mean, it's don't really call them down years. It was 2 decent years as a young player, so I wouldn't really call them down years. He didn't play the amount of games that he did the last couple seasons. He had played like 50 games less each season. That wouldn't have led to 40 home runs, but I didn't even look at his OPS. I just kind of went through real quick to home runs. All the reason I still got it up here. Hang on. OPS 925 his rookie year, 848. Second season, I won't count COVID. Then 965, 875, and last year 1.066. So he led the league this past year in OPS. So yeah, I get it. If he's able to continue on this, yeah, okay, he's a Hall of Famer. But just a couple seasons, doesn't make him a Hall of Famer. He's well on his way. I'll give you that. He is well on his way, and I hope he does become a Met. I hope they don't pay him $500 million, but I do hope he becomes a Met. I hope he stays a terrific hitter, and when he is ready to pitch, he's back to being a good pitcher. So, but he's not a Hall of Famer yet. On his way, the wagon's rolling. The horses are pulling the wagon, across the Midwest here, and he's well on his way to become to the Hall of Fame. But he's just not there yet. The trail has not let him there yet. Paul Spencer has a special note for tonight's. I believe the College Football Frenzy, maybe. Tonight's special guest, Keith Conlon, 92-96, Penn State 3-time All-American offensive lineman, nicknamed the Goon. So I believe that's for the Paul. Let me know. Is that for the College Football Frenzy or what? All right, so I'm all done with the pitching talk there. Got it out of my that bad taste out of my mouth. We can move on from it. Paul says yes for tonight. Keith Conlon on the College Football Frenzy. He played for Penn State 1992 to 1996. Offensive lineman. Nickname the Goon. The Goon. There we go. That's pretty cool. What the? Shohei should sign with the Rangers. Loop. I don't know what that is. I don't know what you're trying to say. I believe that's Shohei. Shohei should sign with the Rangers. Loop. Yes. And so tonight, the College Football Frenzy will be on 8 p.m. So make sure you check College Football Frenzy out tonight, 8 p.m. Special guest, former Penn State offensive lineman from 1992 to 1996, Keith Conlon. So pretty cool there. Adam says loops. S typo. What? I still don't understand what you're saying. Rangers loops. I don't know. I don't. Losers. I don't know. Loops. Lupez. I don't know. I'm still lost with this one. Adamese language. Yeah, usually I can figure out Adamese, but this one has me. This one has me a little bit lost. Losses, I think. I don't know. Is it Shohei should sign with the Rangers? Losses. No, that doesn't sound right either. Anyway, I'm going to move on from that. So we're going to talk a little bit of playoffs. I'm going to switch the old overlay out here, the old backdrop. See what Paul cooked up for us here. All right, there we go. We got Still in the war room here with Batman. He's not, making fun of the Mets. So we have the Rangers up on Houston 2-0, and we have the Phillies on top of Arizona 2-0. And I'll tell you what, the Phillies, it doesn't get much hotter. Winning game one, I think was a 5-3. Coming out home run after home run after home run, just really jumping all over the Diamondbacks thing. I'll give credit to the Diamondbacks. They did fight back. Then last night, they didn't have a chance. They didn't have a chance at all. The lad pitching for the Diamondbacks, he kept it close for a little bit. I can't think of what his first name is. His last name's Kelly. He kept it close. But Trey Turner just launching the ball after making it. When he made that error in the I think the top of the first, my first thought was when he gets up the bat, he's going to hit a home run. It's just how it goes. He's made quite a few errors in the postseason so far, and he launched it. He absolutely crushed it. And Schwarber with a couple bombs, and and my thought was originally it was like, they keep hitting all these home runs, but they're all solo home runs. It's going to come back and bite them in the ass. Well, then they proceed to knock the shit out of the ball, inside the ballpark, knocking runs in that way. Nola's been outstanding. Wheeler's been outstanding. So Ranger Suarez, when given the chance, he's pitched really well. I think bullpen's been awesome for the Phillies. They look primed. They look really, really good. And I think they look better this season than they did last season at this point. So we'll see if they can finish it off this year. Then the Rangers in Houston, it's kind of interesting with that series because if you look at it, I was watching, I think, the MLB Network. I think it was MLB Network. And they were talking about, it might have been TBS. They were talking about Houston's home and away record for the season. And they were, I don't know, like 10 games under 500 or whatever at home. And then on the road, they're well over 500. They're one of the best road teams in the league. So, I mean, Texas is up 2-0, because they won those two games in Houston. But now Houston, who's been, road warriors all season, so Texas, don't get too comfy there with your 2-0 lead. You got Scherzer going tonight. It's going to be interesting to see what he can show. He hasn't pitched since the middle of August. You just kind of hope that if you're a Rangers fan, I'm rooting for the Rangers. I'd like to see a Rangers Phillies World Series, but you just hope that the Max Scherzer shows up. That's dominant Max Scherzer. You're not going to get 6, 7, 8 innings. You'll probably get 4 or 5 innings out of him, but you just hope that your bats stay awake. Simeon and stuff like that. You continue to hit, and I think the Rangers will be all right. But you got to stay on top of it. They got to keep scoring runs because Houston they had quite a few opportunities in that last game to get back into it against the Rangers. Altuve, I think who was pitching for the Rangers? It was Eovaldi pitching for the Rangers. Got into a little bit of trouble, bases loaded. I think one out or no outs. Was able to get a couple big strikeouts. Altuve being one of them. Then I think he got Bregman to pop up or ground out after that. I mean, so Houston had chances to get back in the game, and they're not always going to miss those chances. You keep giving them opportunities like that, they're going to jump on it, and they're going to make a series out of this. So I don't think Houston's dead yet. I do think Diamondbacks are dead. I was watching a Tiki Talk earlier, and this lady, a Phillies fan, said she looked online, and the Diamondbacks playoff tickets are going for $11. $11. And then she said what the Phillies playoff tickets were going for. I don't remember what the hell it was, but $11, that's insane. I can't believe it's so low for a playoff ticket. Either that's normal for out in Arizona, like they don't get a whole lot of the attendance isn't very high, which I don't know if it is or isn't. Or there's, the fans are kind of just packing it in, saying, you know what, we're done. Phillies are up 2-0. They're smoking us. Kill us now. So I mean, I don't know what the reason behind that is, or that's Diamondbacks management saying, hey, we need to fill the stadium, and the only way we can fill the stadium is by giving tickets away for free, basically. That's really surprising to me that the tickets are $11. I'm sure they're not the best tickets, they're not the best seats in the house, but $11, that's really surprising. And so yeah. And one thing that lad that pitcher from Arizona did, like again, I can't remember his first name, but his last name's Kelly. They're asking about the atmosphere at Citizens Bank Ballpark, and he kind of brushed them off. He's like, I don't think anything can compare to the matchup between Team USA and I think it was, I don't know, Venezuela or something like that down in Miami. And of course, now you have the Citizens Bank Ballpark, folk, all those fans, those nut jobs, you using that as bulletin board material to get even louder. It's you can't give this team a reason to want to kill you, because they're going to kill you. And you've seen it with Harper against the Braves, against who was it? Was it Albies or whoever it was that was overheard saying ha ha Harper type of stuff, whatever the hell it was he was saying in the locker room. So you can't give this team bulletin board material. They'll come back and bite you in the ass every time. Harper crushes those 2 home runs, stares the shortstop down. You talk about how the atmosphere isn't all that great. You've seen better. Well, guess what? You just got your ass handed to you. It's a formula the Phillies keep using. Adam corrected his Adam Ease and said Shohei should sign with the Rangers. We'll see. Eileen says screw Max Scherzer, screw the Astros. I say, yeah, I agree. Screw Max Scherzer and the Astros. The hell with them. Adam says the Phillies are on fire. The Phillies are on fire. They're really good. Phillies in 5, Houston in 7. I'm surprised you're saying in 5. I'm surprised you're not saying sweep. I think the Diamondbacks are tapping out. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's 4 games as a sweep for Phillies, which could be good and bad. They get the rest, but sometimes that hurts teams. We've seen in the playoffs people bringing up time and time again about how the playoff format sucks for those higher seeded teams because they get cold waiting around. I don't really buy that because it's a series. If you're cold because you had those extra days off, a week off or whatever, you kind of work that out in game 1. So you still have game 2. You still have 2 more, games to give to the other team yet before you're out of the playoffs. So I'm not buying that. If you want to say that for 1 game, all right, I get that. Coming in a little bit cold, but a whole series, nah, I'm not buying that at all. So you're saying Phillies in 5, Houston in 7. I say Phillies in 4, and Texas in 6. Can't stand Altuve, little prick. I'll agree with that, Stacy. He does seem like a little prick. Adam says $1,500 for a Phillies ticket. Whew, man, I'm sure there's cheap seats they can get for cheaper than that. I don't know. Stacy Northrup, who lives down in Texas, says I'm looking at Rangers tickets right now, and they are $100 and up. So that's not terrible, $100. I mean, but again, $100 is probably going to get you all the way to the very top, where there's the snow, it's snow capped, on top of the Ranger Stadium or whatever the name of that stadium is there in Texas. So Eileen has something for you, Adam. She says, who wasn't on fire, Adam? The Eagles. Mic drop. Damn, Adam Glenn. What do you got to say about that, buddy? Jets, Jets. I don't know. Stacy says, yeah, but even down in the first section, tickets are only $300. Wow, That's surprising. You know, that's really good. I'm really surprised that it's because I don't think the Rangers ever really have issues selling out the stadium, do they? I mean, you're more in that area than I am, but every time I see their games, it seems like it's a full house. Maybe they're just not used to selling playoff tickets, you know, NLCS or ALCS tickets, and they're not sure what to price them at. Like, oh, let's put it at this price. I don't know. That could be a thing. Stacy also is laughing her fucking ass off at Eileen's comments. I'm dropping the mic on poor Adam Glenn and his beloved Philadelphia Eagles. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a couple there we go. Cowboy, everything's slow for me. Cowboy Dave says $19 for D-backs tickets. I see on the Tiki Talk is the lady was saying 11, but 11, 19 is all the same thing. Adam says the Eagles played like shit. You think? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a couple sponsor reads here. The show reads, and get my ass out of here and go to bed because I am ready. Slowly slowing down here. All right, so we'll start off the sponsor reads with our good friend there, Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. Adam Glenn, your hurt feelings right now is not a personal injury claim. So do not call Jason Fine. He has 3 office locations throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. In the Garden State, New Jersey, at Cherry Hill, the office is located at 3 Greensward Lane, and the number there is 856-209-5258. And in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the offices are located at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. And then in the city of Brotherly Love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the office is located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. That's Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. Be sure to tell him that the Out of the Box Sports Entertainment sent you. And then to my favorite sponsor here, the coffee guys. Monkey Colt Coffee. Keeping us going 24/7 here. Caffeinated, baby. Put it in the veins. Go to monkeycoltcoffee.com. Get yourself some coffee. The OG coffee, the bourbon chocolate chip infused coffee. My personal favorite, the toasted coconut rum. Sumatran blend medium roast coffee. And now their newest blend, organic. Now, I've mentioned this several times. I'm going to mention it again. I don't know how to say this. I don't know if I should put some Latinese on this or if I just say it all Americanized or what. But I'm going to go ahead and Americanize because I'm American. So I'm going to say the organic blend is Perula, Florida, and that's part of their global gourmet collection. So go to monkeycoltcoffee.com, get your bag of coffee. Go to the old swag shop then. You know, don't just get coffee. Go to the swag shop, get yourself a coffee mug to put that coffee in or a tumbler cup to put in your little car with your coffee in. You know, the tumblers are awesome. And then buy yourself a T-shirt to wear to, you know, special occasions, you know, weddings and such, you know, bar mitzvahs. You know, get yourself a T-shirt, a Monkey Cold Coffee T-shirt with Roderick on there. The cold brew pitcher, fantastic setup there. I love the cold brew pitcher. K-cup adapter. And then when you're all said and done, do not forget the Paradise Rum Cake. Great stuff. Terrific rum cake. And you got your whole shopping cart all filled up. You're like, all right, I'm going to pay and get out of here. Be sure to use that promo code at checkout, OOTB Sports, for 10% off. That promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports at monkeycoltcoffee.com. And finally, our newest sponsor, Dugout Mugs. Go to dugoutmugs.com and get your ultimate game day mug. They have all the baseball teams. They have different styles of dugout mugs. You know, they have ash dugout mugs, the painted logos. They have Skyline dugout mugs, Hall of Fame dugout mugs. They have shortstop dugout mug, which is a little bit smaller than your normal dugout mug. They have wine glass dugout mugs. They have coasters. They have knob shots, which is the bottom of your baseball bat as a shot glass. They have baseballs cut in half as bottle openers. They got all sorts of stuff. You can even get your own logo put on a dugout mug. So if you have a company logo or a family crest or something like that, if you're fancy and you have a family crest, from the Viking days or something or rather, you can go ahead and get that put on there. Or if you have a cat, a picture of your cat, a little Fluffy, you want to get him immortalized on your dugout mug, go ahead and get his ass etched on there. So go to dugoutmugs.com, order your dugout mug, and at checkout, use that promo code OOTBSports20 for 20% off. That is OOTBSports20 for 20% off at dugoutmugs.com. And finally, our show read for this week. Mondays are already gone. I'll still read it anyway because that's what I'm going to do. Mondays, 4:30, Joystick Junkies. And then we had the Sully Squad at 5:30, the Cowboys pregame and postgame. The pregame was at 7:30, postgame at 11:30. It was a joyous postgame this time. The Cowboys won, so the guys were happy. So go back and check all those shows out that you missed from Monday. Tuesday, we had the Rangers on Ice at 4 p.m. and the Commanders Gridiron. I was watching a little bit of the Commanders Gridiron last night. Good job by Steve there. Go back and check those shows out. And now we're on Wednesday. So you have the Batcave, which you're watching right now. 7 p.m. tonight, extra innings. You'll have Sully and Dave on there talking playoffs. 8 p.m., College Football Frenzy. I talked about earlier. You'll have the offensive lineman from Penn State. On there, he'll be their special guest. He was an offensive lineman there from 1992 to 1996, nicknamed the Goon. And at 9:30 p.m., you have Dem 215 boys talking Dallas Cowboy football. And Thursdays this week, you'll have 6 p.m., the NFL Weekly Pick'em Show. Friday, the Atomic Drop Podcast. Saturday, the Golden Dome Podcast and the Silver and Black Lair with myself. Talking Raiders and LA Kings hockey. Kings getting a win last night. Nice win against the Winnipeg Jets. Pierre-Luc Dubois getting his first goal as a King against his former team. So that's good stuff. Good stuff there. I'll be talking Pixie and the Puck, baby. Sundays at 11 a.m., the Big Blue Power Hour. Talking New York Giants football. Also, on Saturday, there will not be a Golden Dome post game because there's, I believe Notre Dame has a bye this week. So you'll just have the Golden Dome talking, I guess, the season so far. Season in review, so far. So that's what we got going on this week on Out of the Box Sports Network. You can check us out at Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Twitch. We're also on the TikTok and Instagram, so make sure you check us out there as well. Hey, there I am again. What's up? Got a couple comments before I get my ass out of here. Paul Spencer said, Vivid Seats has Diamondbacks Game 3 seats for $45 lower level. Wow. Their fans gave up, I guess. That's what I think. I don't know if that's it or if they struggle throughout the regular season, filling the stadium. I don't know. They're not going to match. And I can't, I'm so over it, the signs Bedlam at the bank and all this other stuff. I get it. You're loud. You're crazy. Okay, whatever. Nobody's going to match what it is at Citizens Bank Ballpark. Nobody. So like if they're going to try to fill that ballpark with $45 tickets, try to get it noisy and loud, it's not going to be the same thing. It's not going to affect the Phillies. It's just not. So I don't know if that's a normal thing where they struggle filling the stadium or not, but it's a bad look for them. It's a bad look for their fan base, and we'll see what happens. They have a good young team. Show up and watch them, support them. Adam Glenn said, "What's your team grade for the Mets?" Team grade for the Mets, I would say if you go based off of expectations, it'd have to be an F. But overall, I'd probably go D. Not very good at all. I would go straight F because there were some bright spots. Lindor played really, really well this year. Pete Alonso, great power numbers, low average. Nimmo played all right. Jeff McNeil had a pretty good second half of the season. Kodai Senga, like I said, pitched terrific. Brooks Raleigh. And look at the young guys that came up. Francisco Alvarez, had his moments this year. So I'd go with D. There was some bright spots. There was some good things that happened, but most of it was bad. So Adam Glenn also says, Eileen, who are the Yankees playing? Oh, man, bringing the Yankees into this now he is. Damn, Eileen. Eileen's probably working right now. Stacy's laughing. Paul says mid-season review for Irish. Yep, correct. Bye week for Irish and Cowboys. That's right. The Cowboys are also on a bye. I did hear that when I was I think I was listening to your post game. Stacy says twatter. Yep, that's what it is. It's the old twatter. I seen that in a movie. I don't remember what movie it was though. I think they called it I'm on the twatter or something like that. Paul says, awesome show as always. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate that. And the last comment here. I started laughing as I had to stop work for that. Also, he says, Adam 09. I think she's referring to when the Yankees beat the Phillies in the World Series, Adam, in case you're wondering what 09 is. That's what I'm guessing. So you guys will have to pick this argument up another time. Next Wednesday. There you go. So that's all I have for this week. I'm going to go to bed. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. And make sure you check me out again next Wednesday, 10 a.m. I'll be talking. I think the World Series should be. We should know who's in the World Series by next week. So we'll be talking World Series and matchups and stuff like that, and any kind of Mets news that comes across the wire. And I'll probably talk a little bit of fielding, maybe grade their fielding, but that's not going to be too extensive. One more comment here. This will be the last comment. Uriel Rodriguez, thanks, Kenny. Thanks for checking the show out, Uriel. Please continue checking it out. It doesn't matter what name you put up there. I appreciate all the comments and you just checking it out, period. Very much appreciated. And your comments and questions and stuff. Adam Glenn says, Phillies Rangers World Series. I agree, Adam. All right. Tune in next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Same bat time, same bat channel. And for the next season, let's go Mets. See you guys later. Thank you.